Stephen Guy. On my left is Alan Marjam. Alan's the General Secretary of the Durham Miners Association. Alan was also jailed during the miners' strike for fighting for his colliery and his comrades and his community. We've got Mike Jackson, who's the co-founder of the Lesbian and Gay Support the Miners. Obviously, he was in the introduction to the film. We've got Dave Pike, who's the relatively recently appointed Regional TUC Secretary for the North East, Yorkshire and Humber. Covers a huge geographical area. On his left, we've got Mary Kelly Foy, who's the Member of Parliament, the Labour Member of Parliament for Durham City, and I forget, Willington, and is that it? City of Durham, and bits of Willington. Bits of Willington. And then on the far left, we have Mr. Durham Pride himself. He's the man behind the ideas of getting Durham Pride up and running. I went to the very first one with a late friend, a sacked and victimised miner in 84-85 as well, Decker Graham. He's known to some of you in the audience. Decker and I went to the very first Pride in Durham, and the vivid memory I took from that event, Mel, was that there was pole dancers in one of the pubs. I think that was it you? Was that you were? Mel was on the pole dance at the time. That's how we first met, and our relationships endured ever since. Okay, so questions. First one's quite a lengthy one, and thanks to Lisa and the other volunteers for getting these in advance. We have come a long way. Sorry, where have we gone wrong since Joe Cox stood in Parliament and said we have more in common than what divides us? How did we get to where we are now, with division, marginalisation, hate spewing from every crack in society? And what can we do to fix it? Quite a lengthy question for you first, Alan. So how have we gotten where we are, and what can we do to fix it?
Thanks, Stephen. I think, first of all, the words of Joe Cox have never been more relevant than they are now, because there is more that unites us than divides us. I've been asked on a number of occasions, why do you, when you're not, are you gay? She says, I'm not gay, no. Why do you support Pride? Why do you support gay rights? I says, well, first of all, because it's the right thing to do, because we're all working class, we're all in this struggle together, and we need to stand together. And I've also said, and backed that up by saying, I'm not female, but I support women's rights. I'm not black, but I support black rights. I support people in struggle wherever they are, wherever the colour, wherever the gender, wherever the sexuality. How we're getting to this stage now, and it's frightening. We've been talking about this earlier on. I was there in the 70s fighting the National Front. In them days, I was young enough to be able to actually fight. I couldn't do that now physically, but I think it's important that we take the fight to reform, because these are a different animal. These are a different animal to the skin-headed, booted, Dr. Martin booted thugs that we dealt with in the 70s, 80s and 90s. Some of them are quite articulate and well-dressed, but that line of hatred still runs through them. I've never known so much hatred in my life. And the people to blame for the rise of reform are successive governments, Labour governments included, who've left these people behind. People in our communities feel left behind. And I think we need to have more events like this. How we combat the rise of the far right is to have more events like this and to show them all, whether we're gay, whether we're straight, whether we're black, white, brown, or whatever. We need to stand together and take them on. That's the way. Solidarity is the way to defeat these people, and we will defeat them.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me along to speak today. I really can't improve on what Alan's just said there. There's nothing new about this, so this has always been the case. Shelley, way back in the 18th century, wrote that wonderful poem, The Mask of Anarchy, where he says, ye are many, they are few. And it's exactly the same. The ruling class, and I do believe absolutely in class politics, the ruling class know that the one thing that they fear more than anything else is a united working class. And the only thing that we ever have to do is to unite our working class. We've never managed to do it so far. We get near it and then we get torn away from it. But that is the only answer to all the world's problems, really. You know, it's not just a British thing. This is a global problem. And that global problem is worse now, I think, because of global communications, because of international corporate capitalism. And so it's what's really important for us now is to look beyond being British and to look at the rest of the world and see our brothers and our sisters and they in other countries throughout the world and unite with them.
Hi folks. I'm going to try and not go too emotional when I sort of paint the picture here. Because I think what this question gets to the heart of is the damage that this hateful era we're living in is having. Now I want to start that at a really personal level and then sort of take that to a wider scale. When I was at school, I was in a very Christian, conservative school and was bullied really heavily for being who I am, for being queer. That put me back in the closet until I was 30. Big relationships in my life, big important steps in my life. I hid. I wasn't myself. It was only through the solidarity and support of the people around me that I managed to come out and be who I am. And that took a long time and a lot of baggage. And the impact of the decision that this Reform Council is having is putting kids up and down this area in that same position. How do they think they're going to feel? A kid in a school now. The council that runs their school has said pride shouldn't happen. Equality is a contested ideology. What impact do they think that's going to have on kids in those schools? But it isn't just happening here in Durham. The impact of that going further afield is on an international scale, exactly as Mike was just pointing to there. Before I started with the TUC, I used to work for the National Education Union. In the East Midlands, the Catholic Education Trust that runs a lot of schools across the East Midlands was heavily influenced by a bishop who'd spent a lot of time in the States with extremely conservative forces over there, who encouraged him to ban LGBT groups in schools, ban the celebration of Pride. But do you know what happened there? The trade union movement came together. NEHT, NASUWT, NEU, Unison and others all came together with councillors, with people from up and down our movement and overturned that decision. We can change these things. We can win these fights. And they matter, not just because of our moral view of the world. They matter because it matters for the next generation. I never want a kid to go through what I had to go through at school. That was horrible. That shaped my life for years and years. We have to win this fight. We have to win this fight. We have to go out there and prove that there is a different way to view the world, not one couched in hatred, but one couched in hope, one couched in a better view of how society can be. Thanks.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it's already been said there quite clearly, this type of behaviour is cyclical. It does go on. It's happened since Hitler, and probably before then. In the 1930s, we are sort of seeing that type of mindset coming back now, which is very, very scary, and we need to do something about it. But look, we have come very far, Since Section 28 and Thatcher and all of those, we've got, gay marriage, should be just marriage, but, gay marriage. And we've progressed a lot, and there is a lot more solidarity and acceptance in the world, in this country and across the globe. But scarily, we are now seeing the likes of, Trump, first of all. We knew years ago when Trump got in that this would then come over to Britain. Trump, the stuff that he's done over there in the US, what teachers can't even speak about gay, what's it called? I can't remember what it is, Don't Say Gay is a big campaign, or over in America, Don't Say Gay. Teachers can't even talk about anything about being gay. And it's where's Nigel Farage at the minute? He's over with Trump. That's what is on the horizon. We've got Nigel Farage, the rise of the right, and unbelievably, they're now in Durham. It's in Durham. Durham, the city of sanctuary, a county that has always been accepting of people, of welcoming the stranger, of accepting people who need sanctuary, who have facing persecution. We've always welcomed them. And now we've got a reform council. And they got in because of many reasons. I'm not going to get too party political on this question. I might later, but on this question. But it's been that austerity, as we all know. It happened with Hitler. When people are feeling disenfranchised, when their living conditions are go down, you blame somebody who's different. You blame the stranger, and that's what's happening with migrants. It's what's happening with anyone who's black or brown at the minute, with all the flags that we're seeing. Who's next? It's LGBTQ people, isn't it? It's what's happened in the past. And honest to God, I'm so pleased that this has happened tonight. I sat there, I watched this film when it first came out at the pictures, watched it, thought it was brilliant, then I made my kids watch it, and I haven't watched it for years. But sitting there in the Pitman's Parliament, watching Pride, and this, I thought, my God, this is absolutely amazing, isn't it, to be here when this is happening. We need to remember our solidarity with each other, and that's what Reform and others want to break, our togetherness and our solidarity. They want to break it because they know we're strong when we're together, and that's exactly what Joe Cox said. We're stronger when we're together, and we've got to keep fighting for that and keep strong. And no matter what you think of the government at the minute, it's good. This could well likely be a Reform government in a few years' time. It's happened across the continent, it's happened across the world, the far right, but there are signs of hope, because people like us come together at events like this and others, and Pride and all the rest of it. You've got to be strong, you've got to carry on, you've got to be in solidarity with each other and support each other. I actually forgot what the question was now, but never mind, that was
If Mary forgot the question, I've got no bloody chance, have I? So, I would just like to say, we started Pride in 14. We thought there might be 3 of us with a couple of glow sticks in Watergate. There ended up being a few hundred, and it's just grown and grown to what it is now today. But that was through the bravery of a guy called Ron Hogg, who was a police and crime commissioner. And at the time, it wasn't popular. It wasn't popular votes or whatever. That man stood there, he gave us our first bit of money to get to Watergate. The stage was about 2 foot by 4 foot, but he stood on that stage with somebody who you might know called Olga Milburn, another Labour councillor, and somebody from the university, Mary, and literally cut a ribbon. And that started in 2014 to where it is now. Reform are in. They've told us we can have a Pride. I don't need Reform to tell me if we're going to have a Pride in Durham, because we're going to have a Pride in bloody Durham.
Thanks, Mel. Just pass the mic back to Mel, because we're running out of time, so I'm going to ask individuals questions rather than everyone the same question. Right, Mel, this one's for you. What else can we do as individuals to make sure adequate funds are raised to ensure Pride 2026 proceeds in the city of Durham? Yes.
Events like this are amazing. So as individuals, I think, we began, somebody said, set up a page, people's fundraising. And without me knowing, I set the page up. I'm not very tech. And people started donating money. I never asked for any money. We ended up with 300 and something pounds. And all the thing was, we're so sorry to hear that you're not going to, Pride is being defunded. They've never funded Pride. But people are saying to us, yes, we say to the council, would you like to be part of our Pride? Yeah, we'd love it. We'd love to be the city of culture. We'd love to be part of it. We'd love to be that idea. We've got some fabulous people in Durham County Council. Don't forget, we have a reformed council, but we have some amazing councillors and amazing staff in Durham County Council. Some of them here tonight volunteering. So let's remember, those are the people, them volunteers who work for Durham County Council too. So what you can do, I guess, I'm not really into all this politicky stuff, but I guess what you can do is do a sponsored bake and invite me along as a judge. You can, one of our volunteers and I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get on the bike and ride from John O'Groats to, I thought, good luck with that, son. I'll be there. I think Zoom and things, I'll be able to watch you all the way on that journey, but that's the only way we're going to be able to, we ask people to contribute to Pride. I'd love free Pride, but we realise for the Pride that Durham deserves, everybody has to contribute, so we do tickets. But it'd be great just for once, just to say to the local businesses, to whatever, you don't need Durham County Council. We're supporting the local businesses in Durham. All our money that comes in goes to them. So that's what's important. So let's not lose it all. But I've talked enough. I hope that answers the question. But I've got major fundraisers on this panel. I mean, Dave Pye from TUC used to do Sheffield Pride long before I was playing with glow sticks and Walkergate. So maybe he might have some ideas.
And on that point, we'll move to Dave to answer the same question then.
I know there's a lot of union officials, branch secretaries in the room. Me and Stephen are going to be writing to you all after this meeting tonight and asking you to speak to your branches, speak to your union, get funding, but most importantly, as well as the money, it's be here when it's Durham Pride next year. We want to see everyone here. Bring your union branches down here. Every union needs to be represented down here. So get that information back to your branch. We'll be writing out to people and get funding in and get people here.
Next question. Next question is to the Mike. Mike, is there any particular part of the scenes that we've seen this evening which actually took you back to the moment in the 84-85?
Oh, God, there's so many, it's really, really hard to pick them out. I mean, in a sense, the scene that starts off that always takes me back is when we're waiting to go into the Miners' Welfare Hall. Apologies for the people who've heard me say this before, but actually what happened next in real life was completely and utterly different to what happened in the movie. In the movie, we walk in and there's disapproval and people walk out, etc. And I understand, and we understand why that's there. It's for dramatic effect. But in reality, there were 27 of us, not the 8 that you see in the movie. We were indeed a little bit nervous before we actually walked into the concert room, and it was packed. About 200 to 300 people in there, every generation. There were kids running around, grandmas, granddads. And when we walked in, a group of young people, when I look back, I mean, I was one of the older ones, and I was 29. Mark Ashton was 24. So we were conspicuous because we were young, and charity shop chic, my dear. We're all a bunch of queens from London, you know. And so when we walked in, we were conspicuous, and the whole tenor of the conversations dropped. And for a split second, it was like, oh, fuck moment. And then somebody started clapping, and within seconds, the whole 200 to 300 people were giving us a standing ovation. We could not believe that. I mean, that was we were anticipating that we'd have to do a little bit of kind of fighting with people, with the prejudices, etc. None of it. And as the beer flowed through the night, what they were more interested in is finding out what kind of sex you had. And have you got any tips? And young wives were looking at the hunky miner husbands going... And although I'm making light of it, and it's true, that's what it's all about, because they'd actually worked out the prejudices long before we got there. And we all know who initiated that, and it was the women. It was the miners' wives and the mothers who rounded on the men who were making not nice comments about gay men and asked them what they were laughing at. And basically, by the time we got there, they'd worked all that out of the system, and we were open with absolute open arms. It was just fantastic. And we knew history was being made when that happened. It was an amazing moment. And, well, that's why I'm here today, really. It's never stopped since. Fantastic.
Thanks, Mike. I'll just turn to my good comrade and former miner, Alan Margam, now. So, Alan, as a young miner in the 84-85 dispute, watching that film and observing the support that we got from the lesbian, gay support, the miners, as well as the miners' wives that are in the audience, what reflections have you got, and how did that make you feel during the most difficult 12 months in your life?
It made us feel as if I was... Sorry. It made us feel as if I was part of something. I was fighting for something. My job, my community, my industry. And the support we got. How would makes you feel when you're getting beaten daily by police? You're getting bombarded with the mainstream media, the BBC, ITV, the newspapers, the radio, the TV, everything, telling you that you're worthless, that you're a communist, that you're this, you're that, and you're the enemy within. I wear that as that term that was a badge of honour. I'm proud of that. I'm still the enemy within. Certainly, if my enemy is reform and the Tories and school like them, I'm still the enemy with this. But the support we got of the lesbian and gay communities, the LGBTQ plus community was absolutely outstanding. The support we got from Asian workers down in London, working in sweatshops, earning very, very little, were putting money into the bullets that we were going to collect the money. And the support we got, it makes you feel small. It makes you feel like you're giant in your own respect. It makes you feel very humble and small in another. And I'll keep saying, with people in struggle, we all should, as miners, recognise, and as working class people, recognise that solidarity is strength, unity is strength. United we stand, divided we fall. We cannot afford to let the people who divide us do so.
Coming to you next, Mary.
Well,
Okay, this question's for everyone on the panel, but we'll start with Mary. It's great to see, by the way, the different age range in the audience, but this particular question I think is critical. How can we get more young people to join the fight for LGBT rights and against the rise of the far right.
All right, okay. Well, thank you for thinking I'm a young person there, Stephen. That was really... The rise of the far right is very scary at the minute. It is really scary. You've seen it happening across the world. And look, I'm a Labour Party member of Parliament, and I'm not happy with what's going on. I'm not happy with the comms that we've got going out. I'm not happy with it looking as if the big priority for the Labour Party is migration, immigration, small boats. I'm absolutely appalled, and I've made my views known to the Home Secretary, whichever one it is today. Who is it? Anyway, the Home Secretary, that we need to get back to Labour values and think about our compassion and solidarity and our Labour values as internationalists. And I think that's look, we've seen what happened at the film tonight. Just is an example of how we should be. It's a reality of life, the reality of what happens in towns and communities when people are feeling the feeling like that their living standards aren't very good, or they're being excluded, discriminated against, and that includes young people as well. Look, at young people are the ones who want a better world, always are the ones who want a better world. They've seen it in 2016 onwards with the Jeremy Corbyn movement, and all that we want something different. We want hope and solidarity and love and peace, and there's a different way. And unfortunately, what's been going on across the globe has meant that it's been, well, we're suffering from it now in this country with the rise of the far right, the rise of reform. They are the far right, really. Reform and others. They pretend they're not, but they are. Who's got flags in their blooming streets at the minute? Sorry if you are a patriot. I apologise. My family are all from Ireland. There is no way I'm putting a St. George's cross on my mother and father would turn in their graves. But young people are they're the ones who are bothered about the climate, because the world ain't going to be here much longer unless we do something. Young people love each other, and you've got solidarity and friendship and wanting something different. Unfortunately, you've got the rise of the Andrew Tates and the Trump and but I think in terms of young people, come on. If our schools are teaching the right sort of values still, that's still there, isn't it? Hopefully, surely, we've come a long way in gay rights, LGBT rights, migrant rights, in racism. I think as Durham, for instance, is a place where we've got pride. You need things like pride. You need the Miners' Gala. Which other areas have got a Miners' Gala going on? I think if you've got keep teaching the kids about the past and that importance of solidarity and working class communities and listening to each other and talking to each other. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. We've got it in Durham. We've got to just keep teaching our young people, like, look at this place, it's amazing.
Marvellous.
Durham's amazing. Reform cannot stop us. Let's stick together. Let's keep having the gala. Let's keep having pride and celebrate love and solidarity and diversity.
So keep teaching the kids and get them to the gala, and pride is a great start. We'll move to Dave. Dave reflected on his memories and experiences as a young man coming out. So I think it's important that we hear from him on the same question.
Thank you. I would love to be as positive as Mary, but I do. I think we have a. No, that's true. I think we face some real challenges when we're talking about this. I think there has been a long history of saying that our movements are motivated by young people on the left, But there is also a frightening trend of a lot of young people shifting to the right now. And there is a lot of these right movements are motivated by a really, really organised young cohort. And I think the reason for that is we are failing to get the message about how the world can be better across those people. And I think we have to be honest with ourselves about that. That is a real challenge that we have to face as a movement. We have to think about how we communicate a better world to them. Because on the other hand of that, when I was organising Sheffield Pride, one of the nicest things about that was going out and, despite my own experiences, seeing kids who were like 14, 15, just happily being themselves, completely open, happy being themselves. That is exactly what we can get to. So that's why it's worth doing the work and getting out there and having these conversations, holding events like we have tonight, getting those conversations started in our communities, in our workplaces to convince people. And it is work and it takes time, but we all have to commit to it and we all have to do it. So yeah, thank you.
We certainly haven't got time to get through all the questions. I'm going to have one final question to both Mel and Mike. We'll start with Mel first, and then I'll do the raffle.
I've got the results here.
So we've got the results, so hopefully we'll be on our way by 10:30. Right, Mel, big question. Where do you see LGBT communities and rights in the next 30 years?
Oh, great, thank you. Can I just say, I don't believe people are born with hate in their hearts. I believe hate comes from the families, or how they grow up, what they see and what they hear, wherever it is now. So I think that's where we have to combat it. Don't let hate into your heart. Just don't let it, because it'll just take a massive space and there's no room for it. So as much as we'd like to hate what's going on, let's change it. So there's no room for hate, and that should never be in our vocabulary. That's where I believe. And I believe if we do that, we stand a chance now. Unfortunately, I'm not really good with young people. They kind of annoy me. So it was a real pleasure to be at the Freedom Zone in Stanley on Tuesday to meet some young people. Now, I thought they were about 15, they were all in their 20s. I'm 60 next week. And I looked and I was calling them Bairns, and I thought, my good Lord, they were looking at me like a dinosaur. And I realised then, I'm not the future. Yeah. They are. They are. And somehow, we've got to engage. Now, as much as I love these kids, I'm going to have to sit at Jack Drumart's and watch the movie again, Mike. You think you've got it tough all these years. I'm going to be sitting watching you again at Jack Drumart's up in Crook. And they're going to be a big, 60, 70 people with bairns, with families doing this. And then I'm also at Beamish Football Centre doing the same. And then with the Freedom Zone doing some stuff. So that's where we change it. We get off our horses and we go out to the community and we say, this is what's right, this is what's wrong. And let's forget about bloody flags. I couldn't care less about flags. There's more to me than a flag. So when they brought the rainbow flag down, 5 days before Pride, bring it down. Because you're not stopping Pride. All you're saying is showing yourself for who you are. Yeah. You feel more about the flag than the person. Because I love a flag. Who doesn't love a rainbow flag in a little window? When you're going out, a rainbow flag, I'll go and get a cake. I mentioned cakes again, I'm sorry. But when I was growing up in 80s, concert wasn't the best place to be gay, so I wasn't. I joined the army and come out gay. It was easier. So I'm going to leave that and pass that over.
Same question to Mike Jackson.
Oops. I was asked this question a few years ago by a 14-year-old kid in a school in South London. What a question it was. Where will we be in 30 years' time? Where will LGBT be in 30 years' time? Let's hope we don't have LGBT in 30 years' time. Let's hope we don't have men and women. Let's hope we don't have white and black and brown. Let's hope that we've got over that need to put labels on each other and there's just one race, the human race. Having said that, within my lifetime, we've come a hell of a long way, and it was very necessary to label ourselves. Certainly what I've learned now is nothing is static. Things change constantly. So what was once lesbian and gay, and that was all it was, became lesbians, gays and bi, and then it became lesbians, gays and bi and trans, and now it's LGBTQI+, etc. And that's great, and I welcome that. I can't fucking keep up with it sometimes. And one good example of that is intellectually, I declare myself non-binary. Unfortunately, I'm 71 years old. I'm losing my marbles a bit. I can't remember where my feet are, let alone anything else. So I would really find it difficult to assert myself as being non-binary. And I'm being serious here because I'd keep forgetting. I keep forgetting what the pronouns were or whatever. So intellectually I get it, and I think it's great because to me, my understanding of it is it's breaking down a rigid division between man and woman, and there is a lot of nonsense in all that stuff. It's rubbish that men are strong and that women are emotional. It's a lot of toss, all that kind of thinking, and it's dangerous, stupid thinking. We've all got these qualities to a greater or lesser extent. So yeah, 30 years' time, I'll be long gone. I hope. I don't want to be. I don't want to be 100 and whatever it is. But yeah, I hope it's gone. I hope we've moved on to a better stage by then. Working class will always be here.
Yeah.
I knew that would be a great question to conclude on, and thanks very much to all of our panels and guest speakers for their contribution before, during, and for this evening.